Well, here we go. Returning to Elbereth at last. I spent the last couple of episodes not really talking much about the fundamental mechanics of how this game works anymore. But we'll probably get back to it from time to time. The problem is that from this point in the game, I don't really know how much of it is driven by the context engine being used as a context engine, and how much of it is driven by just hard coding. It's really hard to tell without continuously retrying, rather. And so I'll probably do some retrying, but what we're going to have to do is talk about what the context engine is capable of, rather than limiting ourselves to what they've used it for in this game. And that's one thing that I think we really need to talk about, because this game is written using what I would call primitive context engine tools, which is not a slight on them. It's just because they don't really have any existence. There's no such thing as a context engine tool yet. So the fact that they have to do everything by hand is definitely a burden, and you can hear that when they talk about it. They're constantly talking about how challenging it is to wrangle all of these lines of dialogue and stuff. But I think that that's solvable. I think that's a tools issue. Right now, the robot is saying that his ethical core finds the suffering on Elbereth bad, and we already know that the ethical core on a robot is either non-existent because they're people, or is put on as a limiter to the human brain that powers these robots. Of course, the main character doesn't know that yet, even though she's been told it directly. She still doesn't know it. Now, we've stacked up quite a few things to do on Elbereth.
The boy stuck his nose up against the porthole and kept it there, staring out at the rivers.
We've set up quite a few things to do on Elbereth because I didn't want to go back until we had lots of stuff to do. Every stop on this journey costs us time, I think, but it's not really as strict as it seems. It's mostly an illusion, because however you play the game, it will still resolve in the same way, more or less, as far as I know. He's not going to tell us the magic word that transported him around, but we know he saw it written, so it's not a big deal. We can just find out where it's written on Elbereth, and I have a sneaking suspicion I might know. Of course, we don't know how those words are pronounced, do we? So maybe that's no good. I want to get through this conversation before we hit Elbereth, so I'm trying not to go too fast through these rivers. I think we still got plenty of time, though. Let's see, last time we went right, so this time we'll go left. The idea of magical language is really interesting, but in this case, he's talking about something that is quite interesting, because it's not that the language itself is magical, it's just that he perceives it as magical. And I went right last time here too, so let's go right again, I guess. Okay. It's fine. We should be getting very close to Elbereth now, as I recall. You don't say. Go. There it is. Let's land on that dirt ball. That's a funny name. Alright, so here we are back on Elbereth. We've got lots of stuff stacked up, ready to go. Ready to do stuff. We're going to go ahead and see what we can do with Emhyr. Probably just... I don't mind keeping him around, so maybe... I guess it depends on how things unfold. But the three things we've got to do are a Roy, the slave merchant, and this kid. We can also do some optional stuff with the junk merchant. So there's lots of fun things to do here on Elbereth. That's the gate. Let's go ahead and see what other people have to say. Like Timor. Hopefully it'll walk us all the way there, because this world is not terribly fun
crying,
to walk around in.
The sound of 1,000 people packed up like a box of oranges.
Alright. Okay, so it didn't walk us through. It just played a very long cutscene without actually walking us there. Well, let's see what our would-be husband has to say. Well, this is interesting. Kisareth must just mean asshole, right? Oh, that's a different story than he told us. It certainly does. No, apparently it doesn't mean asshole because he keeps saying it. Yes, it was pretty good to have someone with a lot of energy aboard. The robot is not the most energetic person, and neither am I. Golly, I sure wonder what he was doing. Let's see whether we can ask him. See whether he'll be willing to answer an Ioxian. So Timur is kind of a child baron. He tries. He sort of. Well, calling it grooming children is probably a little severe, but he takes care of them and tries to let them grow up. But on the other hand, they do jobs for him. So right now, what he's trying to tell us is that he's not trying to leave us the bar. He's trying to leave us a vast enterprise of keeping track of homeless children. There we are. That's what it means. King of children, now he who protects. The situation on Albereth is not terribly interesting to me as a player. The problem is that Albereth never really took hold of me. Albereth never really took hold of me, and it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to accomplish. There's very little thematic resonance between Albereth and what I'm trying to do, yet. This is something where there could be a lot of thematic resonance if it was set up to go off at the right time. For example, if we know the situation on Albereth, and it's all about the fact that these children are starving and they're dying, and Timur is desperately trying to help them, even if it ends up killing some of them, that would resonate very well if we were doing some stuff like, when we turn people into robots, children can't get reborn because their souls are stuck in robots. So there's fewer and fewer children and stuff like that. We could see that sort of resonance where the young are being sacrificed in both cases. But that's really not what's happening, at least not in terms of when it's told to us and how it's told to us. So it's hard to see the resonance, and because of that, I never really felt the plight of Albereth very much. I never really felt like I was here. The only person in Albereth that I really feel for is Arroy, and I can't say that it's a very strong feeling. It's just like, oh, Arroy is our old buddy who we don't have anything in common with. Like, say, an emperor? Let's see whether the gate will let us through today. Well, excuse me. I'm sorry, I just got a haircut and I've been inhaling hair, which is why you hear me coughing occasionally. Once again, it doesn't want to let us through. Shall we see whether or not it likes Gibenya today? It doesn't seem to like Gibenya today. Oh, there it is. Alright, so for our next step, let's take care of the slavers. We still have 5 minutes, which should be enough to at least negotiate with the slaver. Last episode was really long because I didn't want to stop in the middle, but I got lost. I lost. It was like 5 more minutes, and it didn't happen. So right now we are trying to find a slaver, or a slave that's been injured. But you know what we're going to do first? We are going to save our save game to a backup file. Copy, paste. What is it? Episode 17? I don't know. Around there. All right. Yes. So right now we're negotiating with a slaver. You can have a lot of conversations with this slaver. She has a lot of dialogue branches. Basically, she'll tell you that he was a real asshole, and he's not welcome here anymore. And it turns out that was Janiqui. He was the asshole who hired a worker, shattered his arm, and then ditched him. And we're just kind of talking in circles because we have all the information now, and the context engine isn't quite sure how to churn with that. So it's just like trying to figure out the pathway through this web of conversations that we should have been having. But we skipped over the first half, so now it's trying to cram the first and second half together, and it's kind of grinding. Mmm. Tasty. So we can give her something valuable or something small. I actually didn't know we could offer her something small. We got loads of valuable things. Okay, that's not... Why are we only getting the Eagle Wing Brooch? Oh, here we are. This is a bunch of other stuff. These are all quite worthless. So let's go ahead and give her this silver anklet. And this silver belt knife. Are you serious? Well, we can keep giving you random crap. Here, have a silver necklace. Good. All that silver was heavy. None of those seem to have any value other than trading here, so hey. For a guy whose arm is barely attached... Oh, it is broken. Good. Good, meaning not good, but, you know. Yeah, there. You can see the arm is pretty badly damaged. So he's claiming that a winch fell over rather than him touching something and it exploding his arm. Oh. How complicated. It's not even here on Iox. All right, so let's see whether we've got ourselves another passenger. So the reason I saved it is because I wasn't sure whether or not it would force me to go back to the ship. No, I'm not. Don't force me. Okay, good. We'll go ahead and keep this lad hanging around while we do the rest of our little journey here. But this is going to be the end of one episode, and then we'll start the next immediately.